If you've lived long enough to carry responsibility, make sacrifices, build something, lose something, then your family should inherit more than your possessions. They should inherit your wisdom. Most people think legacy is about what they leave behind, the house, the business, the savings. But the families who preserve their legacy best understand something deeper. The most valuable thing you can pass down isn't just what you built, it's the wisdom that built it. Because one day, your family may inherit what you left behind, but will they understand what it took to create it? Will they know what shaped you? Will they know what you believed? Will they understand the lessons you hope they carry forward? That's why Story and Legacy Films exists. We help people with meaningful life experiences preserve not just what happened, but what it meant and why it mattered for the family who carries it forward. And I want to be clear, this isn't a basic phone video made from a list of questions, and this isn't some morbid end-of-life video. This is a legacy film. It's for anyone who's lived enough life to have stories, lesson, and wisdom their family shouldn't have to lose. The way it works is simple. We sit down for a guided conversation, draw out the stories and lessons that shaped your life, then craft that wisdom into a cinematic film your family will actually want to watch, understand, and return to. A will can transfer your possessions, a trust can transfer your assets, but only your story can transfer wisdom. My name is Kedrick, and I started Story and Legacy Films because after years behind the camera, I kept seeing the same problem. People had powerful stories inside of them, but the normal way of filming wasn't bringing those stories out. After finishing my film degree, I started a film company and worked around cameras, microphones, speakers, performances, broadcast, and live events. I made films, won awards for my work, had projects broadcast on television, and filmed business owners, artists, athletes, speakers, and leaders. But again and again, I saw the same thing happen with them. Someone would sit down in front of the camera with decades of life behind them, and suddenly they'd get stiff. They'd give safe answers. They'd sound smaller than the life they actually lived. Scripts didn't fix it, and teleprompters didn't fix it either. And then one day, Ryan, a local business owner here in Boise, came to one of the event centers to make a video about lessons he learned from past failures. Before we filmed, we started talking through what he wanted to say, and when it was just me talking with him, everything was there. The story came out naturally, the message had weight. And then we tried to turn it into a script, and everything changed. He'd try to write it down, but he didn't know where to start. When he finally had something on the page, he'd look at the words and he'd freeze up. And when he read them back, it didn't sound like the real him at all, not anymore. He looked at me after about an hour or two of trying this and finally said, "When I talk to you, it comes out, but when I try to write it down or read my script, I completely lose it." And that's when something clicked for me. The problem wasn't that people didn't have a story. The problem was that the moment their life turned into a writing assignment or a performance, the real person disappeared. What actually worked wasn't the script, it was our conversation. After that experience, I stopped trying to make people perform their story and started learning how to help them settle into it. Over the next several years, through interview after interview, I developed a conversation-based framework for drawing out the wisdom behind a person's life. I learned that the best stories usually don't come when someone is asked, "Tell me about your life." That question's too big. Most people don't know where to begin. But when the right conversation gives a person room to remember, something changes. They stop trying to get through an interview and they start sounding like themselves. That understanding became the foundation of Story and Legacy Films. A photo book can show what happened, but it can't always explain what it meant. And a memory book can collect facts, but it can't capture the person. And of course, a basic video can record someone talking, but if no one knows how to draw out the story, the final film can still miss the heart. So we designed a process that feels simple for you while still creating something deeply meaningful for your family. It starts with a brief call. We talk about who the film is for, what matters most, and whether there are certain people, places, stories, or seasons of life that should definitely be included. Then, when it's time to film, you're not left alone in front of a camera trying to perform. We come to your home or a meaningful setting, set up professional cameras, lighting, and audio, and then you simply sit down for a guided conversation. I'm going to help carry the weight of the interview. You don't have to know the perfect wording. You don't have to organize your whole life beforehand. You don't even have to carry the conversation between us. You just have to be willing to have it. And after our interview, we take your photos, home videos, and visual details from your life and weave them into the film. So your family isn't just hearing stories, they're seeing the world those stories came from. One of the first times I saw our process fully come to life was with Tina. Tina wasn't trying to make herself look important. That's not who she was. She was thoughtful and strong in a really quiet way. She knew she had something she wanted to leave behind for her children and grandchildren, but she was nervous. She didn't want to sound awkward. She didn't want to make her life sound bigger than it was. She wasn't sure she could say what was really in her heart. That's exactly why the process mattered. We didn't start with a speech. We started with a conversation about her favorite beach in California, where she grew up.
I was about 7 when we left California, so I've always felt at home, near the water, especially the ocean.
That opened the door for us. And from there, the memories, they started flowing, they started connecting. A story about a place became a story about family. A hard season became a lesson. A simple detail became a window into what things she truly valued. And once she started remembering, the wisdom came out with it effortlessly. By the end, Tina wasn't just leaving her family a video. She was leaving them a way to understand her. When she saw the final film, she told me it was more than a keepsake. She knew that it was something her family could return to. Now, you might be thinking that this sounds really meaningful, but you could probably just record this at home yourself. And technically, yes, you could. But the question isn't whether you can record another video. The question is whether that video will actually preserve the wisdom behind the life, and whether people will want to revisit it. Let me explain what I mean. When I graduated, my dad helped me buy my first car. I ended up finding a 2008 BMW X3. It had very low mileage. It was only $7,500. My dad said, "I don't know, son, something still feels off to me." But I didn't want to hear that. The price was great, is my first thought. So I told him, and he told me, well, some things are cheaper for a reason. But it's a BMW. He laughed at that. That's exactly what worried him. I figured they wouldn't sell it if it had serious problems anyways. So we bought it. But before I even got to 1 month of ownership, problems started showing up in the car. Then a repair, and then another one. I kept treating each problem like bad luck instead of recognizing the truth. I didn't really understand what I had just taken on. By the end of that first year, I spent $5,000 fixing a car that only costed $7,500. I just received something valuable without fully understanding what was required to take care of it. A few weeks after buying it, I learned that my dad had owned the BMW when he was younger. He'd dealt with the same repairs, the same unexpected costs, and the same headache that came with a car that looked great but demanded more than you realized. Suddenly, his hesitation made a lot of sense to me. He wasn't just being skeptical, he was speaking from direct experience. And that changed the lesson for me. It's one thing to receive the asset. It's another thing to understand the wisdom that's behind it. A person can spend a lifetime building something for the people they love, but if the next generation never understands the lessons behind those things, they may inherit something valuable without knowing how to carry it. The money can transfer, the assets can transfer, but the wisdom often doesn't. And wisdom goes far beyond money. It's a part of your life that helps your family understand what mattered, what shaped you, and how you made it through. Those lessons don't just pass down automatically just because a family loves each other. They have to be shared. And that's not vanity. This isn't about pretending you have all the answers for your family. It's about recognizing that your life has taught you something through the moments that shaped who you became. That's also why most do-it-yourself recordings stay on the surface. They capture what someone remembers first, but not necessarily what matters most to them. And worst of all, they often just never happen. Because everyone thinks there's going to be more time, there's going to be another visit, another chance to ask. But something brought you here, something brought you to this page. Maybe you've already lost someone and wish you had more than pictures. Maybe your children or grandchildren are growing up and you want them to know the real version of you. Maybe you've built something, survived something, or learned something your family shouldn't have to lose. Most families care deeply, but life keeps moving. And one day, the person who could explain what all of it meant is no longer able to. That's what we're here to change. We're creating a future where families inherit wisdom, not just wealth. You'll be guided through a personal interview process that makes it easy to share your stories naturally. You'll be filmed with a professional 3-camera setup, carefully shaped lighting, and clean audio so the final film feels alive and deeply personal. Your family photos and videos are woven through the film so the people, places, and seasons you talk about become part of the story. Even your old printed photos can be scanned and included instead of staying tucked away in boxes or in photo albums. We're also going to shoot B-roll right at the location of our interview, so your film will have some texture and show a little bit of what life is like for you now. And when it's complete, your family receives a private online viewing link and a downloadable digital copy that they can keep, share, and revisit. All of that comes together in the Heirloom Package, a polished legacy film created to help your family remember your voice, your stories, and the life lessons you most want them to carry forward. But the real value is what your family receives. They get to see your expressions. They get to understand the meaning behind the life you lived. That's why this isn't just a video file. It's a family heirloom. So if you're watching this and something inside you is saying, "This matters," then listen to that feeling. Your family doesn't need a perfect life story. They need the real one. And they need it while you're still here to tell it in your own voice. You have the chance to leave them more than memories. You have the chance to leave them understanding. Story and Legacy Films is a premium experience, so the next step isn't to pressure you into a decision. It's to help you understand what this could look like for your family and whether this is the right fit. Reach out and schedule a short story readiness call with us. You can ask us any questions you have, and we'll talk through who the film is for, what parts of the story matter most, and which package makes sense for you. If it feels like you're the right fit, we'll help you schedule your film day and begin the process. Reach out now, and let's talk about creating your story and legacy film.